Hello, everyone. It is Thursday, the 16th of March, 2023, and busy times. I'm trying to sell and buy and inspections and agents and lawyers and all of these other things that need to happen with that stuff. But I am still moving forward with like a lot of news and stuff like that. But I'm trying to catch up late at night, and there is still a lot on the go. I'm still trying to post stuff on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and stuff like that, and post stories. But now because I'm like annoying people with all the posts all the posts I'm sharing with what's going on around in Stittsville. I'm gonna like stop because I'm just gonna like record for myself and then not post anymore because it's annoying. So like, why am I posting things that are annoying? And so I'm gonna stop with that. And it's not like it's going anywhere anyways, right? So oh, you're mean. I'm not mean. I'm from Quebec. Je parle français aussi. Puis quand tu travailles, même à 7 heures le matin, à 6h30, puis avec tellement beaucoup de bruit là, ça me fait chier. Puis c'est tout le temps, c'est chaque jour là. Puis ça fait un coup d'année. Donc c'est vraiment pas ma faute. Et c'est vraiment difficile avec mon expérience, le travail, puis toutes les choses à faire dans ma vie pour être ici. En tout cas. Je viens de Quebec. We're more passionate, I think, too. So like that's the intensity. So I was talking about in my other video that I posted that like even like some like big strong freaking men that could like literally just like crush me like that. They say that like I'm scary or whatever or intimidating, and I think it's because too, like especially like when I speak French, like even like the other day when I was speaking to my friend and I was just like I was like but and he's like Don, he's like you can't say that stuff. He's like, it's just, oh my God. He's just like the French shit. And so, anyway, I don't know what that is too, but like when people speak different languages around people, anyone, like this applies to even when people speak a different language to me, it's there's an appeal to it just because it's different and unique to me and or like the people that I talk to, and then even not having that ability to understand like the verbal communication skills, because I've said this in my use of force training that I do. It's a huge tactical de-escalation piece, and I lost my train of thought. Oh yeah, but like 7 to 10% of communication is verbal communication, and it can be taken any certain way, and it's also based on the other person's perception as well, and things like that, and the kinesics, the proxemics, the like the verbal cues, the tone, the cadence, the speed, the delivery, like the mannerism, the microaggressions, like so many different things to factor in that have nothing to do with the verbal cues, and there's a lot of occult groups too, like within the internationally that use even numbering systems and code words and stuff like that are universal in nature, so that they can get away or mitigate the language barriers. And so when you have to rely on someone's like the more natural raw like person to make assessments, and it's not based on words, then this is what I've done more in my life as well. Like when I look at animals or even when I look at humans, I'm looking at all of these things that I just discussed, listed off, and because I want to perceive to see if this person is a threat or a non-threat, especially being smaller and a woman, more vulnerable within the society. I have to look at more cues because I have more threats or predators within my environment just by virtue of my biological sex. And then when I'm like out exposed to the elements, even naked exposed in the elements, I'm in other like species environments, and there's risks with that as well. So even when I was in South Africa, like close to the border of Botswana and stuff like that, on that national wildlife park or whatever you want to call it, and going through like crocodile infested, really hot scorched earth and lakes and stuff like that, and realizing that we would be like not fighting, but like we would be sharing limited resources. That stuff wasn't lost to me either. Oh, where was it going with all this stuff? See, I have like all these weird stories. Actually, you know what I'm gonna do, because it's not really actually that bad today yet on the site. So I could show you some things that I was going to show you. So because I have a science background and stuff like that, and for many, many years I've done a lot of experiments and research and exploration on my own and traveled the world, but also like within my vehicle, like even like just within the last year, I went to the Yukon and back and PEI and back, which is Prince Edward Island, and then the Gaspé and back like a few times, and like a few other areas. But like I even have like science like the slides that you use to put under microscopes and stuff like that. And I have like a mini microscope. I just gotta go get my dog. He wants to come in now. Yeah, and there's like even like a light on this miniature microscope that I have, but a lot of things are put away just because like I'm going to be moving soon. And so I showed my compass yesterday because like I was an infantry officer. I did orienteering as well, and I've done like adventure races and long distance ultra marathons and stuff like that. And that was what I was going to show too, just like for some proof, because I've done a bunch of them. But this is even like the death race, like one that I did. It's like that's one of the coins. And anyway, this compass too, it's like really handy, and I've done a lot of map and compass, a lot of navigation. Like even 2 years ago, or maybe 3 years ago now, I met up with some friends like just on the outskirts of Ontario, or Ottawa rather, like maybe 3 hours. And we did like a fun like little patrolling exercise like over the weekend, like where we were literally doing patrols overnight. And I was the youngest person in this group, and I was like a couple of guys like that were super fit in their 50s and stuff like that, and this woman who was so friggin' interesting. And we talked a lot during during our patrols and stuff like that. But yeah, she has really interesting freaking stories too. And she's like me, right? Like she says these crazy stories where her life was literally at risk for other people and other countries too. And then she's like, and I'm like, that's me. And so I got a lot of people like when they hear me like share my stories or talk about them, like, oh my god, I can't believe, like this happened or whatever like that, and you should never like work again or like be right. Like guys, because I've gone through like more experiences than most people. It's because like I've lived my life, like I've lived such a full life, but there's gonna be more inherent risk and danger in that as well. And then it gets easier, right? So unless you're chronically being triggered because of noise and stuff like that, that's why now I'm just having a little bit more of a struggle with my physical and emotional regulation. It's just taking longer now is what I mean. It's just because this has been very long, and it's been perceived threats, but for me, it unfortunately triggers like real trauma that I have experienced, but it's on a regular basis now. And so this is stuff that I've processed. I've gone through, I've processed and gotten over, clearly, because there's a lot of other things that I've done within my life, even after like events, right? And so like even in 2018, like when I wrote to RMC in that article and talked about being, being a first responder type and the infantry officer not being easy, and I did talk about like the stalking and the harassment and the rape and stuff like that, even in my own home, even then, because I didn't want to play the victim. I wanted to talk about it, right? Because no one's talking about this stuff, and secrets like this it's what's harming people, right? And under closed doors, when there's even men within my own community that have mental health issues, and they're valid and they're real, and they need to be treated. And him not vilified and character assassinated and any of that stuff, but like just like treated and healed and helped, and not like propped up and or covered for and things like that. Like we need to address these things, and so I'm seeing I see it just way too much, and it's further escalating because of like my work with volunteering in multiple different groups within just even in Ottawa, but in other areas too. And then even intimate partner violence, like increasing. They're trying to call it an epidemic within Ottawa. And they're saying it's 400% increase, I think, just like in the last year or two. And yeah, and like even in the homeless shelters, like all over, they have like huge, like there's a lot more people even than 5 years ago. And I can confirm this because I have been volunteering for more than 6-7 years, like 10 years probably, even doing like kitchen work and stuff like that. Because like no one's above these things. Like, so even when I was dating like my ex that owned the restaurant, the pizza shop, like I was doing deliveries, I was answering phones, I was cleaning the bathrooms, I was cleaning the floors, I was and doing my other jobs and stuff like that, and then also doing like the standing rapid deployment team courses where I'm doing coordination all over the friggin' city and like the other cities. because this is all fun stuff, and it gets you to like really like meet like really interesting people. And when you don't judge people based on what they look like, you get to learn like a lot of things. So anyway, that's compass. I got like an international driver's license for, I think this was Spain when I was there, just like again just before the pandemic, and driving. like just with another woman too. And we drove all over Spain and did hiking and did we hiked at like a big mountain, stuff like that. We found a big bathtub on our way up and we took pictures in it, and yeah, it was a lot of fun. This is interesting too, September, and there's a 7-Eleven for when I was at 1VP. And my time there. And just like the whole 7-Eleven thing, like I just looked at this morning because I was just gonna do some show and tell. I have thousands of things like even more interesting than this stuff. It's just stuff that's like on the top of my dresser. Oh, sorry, my bookcase downstairs. And so this is to prove that I went to West Point, ladies and gentlemen, or however anyway. And yeah, the bar, like, so again, if anyone wants to say, oh, you didn't go, she didn't go. Yes, I did. And also, if you want more proof, this is the gold coin, like for the award I went to. You get one of these anyways for physical excellence if you get a certain score or whatever. I got 2 of these. and then I got the gold coin as a, so it looks like a little, maybe I dropped chocolate or something like that on it. Anyway, so, and then I've got a curape, and this I got from from an indigenous community, and got shipped to me. And I have a lot of different curapes like this as well. And what you could do is like it's dual or single. And you put Hrape, you can call it HRAPE or RAPE exalté. And the reason why you don't spell it usually like that is because like what it sounds like, and it's like a powder, like a tobacco that's like spiritual and or like good for like ceremonies and or to engage like a deep level of meditation, because like you put like the powder like inside this and then you blow it in your nose and then it like opens up the the neurological like it stimulates the neurons and stuff like that, and makes you access more of your higher levels of consciousness and stuff like that. And yeah, so like I dabble in so many different things. Like I have like sweet grasses and sage and Palo Santos and different things from even like the Hopi tribe, like even from Arizona and India. Like I have like even the like the stuff that you put on your forehead and then your temples too and stuff like that for different rituals and ceremonies as well. And I think that's, no, like I'll leave it at that for now. Anyway, weird stuff. I had people sometimes, like my friends come in and they always want to like look at my stuff because I have like a lot of crystals too, and stones and magnets and like you freaking name it, like all over the house. It's a freaking science experiment. I even have like blood testing kits where you can actually like test your blood type and find out what your blood type is. And I had like the rapid COVID tests and stuff like that. I was a full out like medical like station here. Like I had like the nattokinase. I had the vitamin D. I had the quercetin, the CoQ10. Like I like the different types of teas. Okay, let me get back to focusing. Le Journal de Montréal. 83% of donations to the Papineau Liberal riding in 2016 came from outside Quebec. Toronto and Vancouver, 2/3 from, that's where the outside donations were from. 50 of the donors, so out of 2/3 were of Chinese origin, and that was all within like a 48-hour period. So even in 2016, as I've been saying, there has been Chinese interference. I'm not saying the country, I'm saying like specific people that are spies and or surveying and or exploiting our resources and things like that, and doing things that are not kosher within Canada, and that could also be seen as an international like risk to even the US, right? And like in North America, like we are aligned with the US more than we should anyway. And so that's why I also talk about like going out and even offering myself too. Like I've literally emailed so many different like even scientific groups and exploration into like the northern regions, and no one gets back to me. And I said I don't have a lot of money, but I'll try to give you what I have to get out there, and like even within government like official capacities and in defense and do the that piece there with the research and early warning and all that other stuff that goes along with that stuff, but. Yeah, so even within Carleton University, like I was in my 4th year cognitive science degree that is now on hold because I was trying to talk to so many different heads of departments and even my own professors. My psycholinguistics teacher, who also is from China and was teaching about the adopting pronouns and things like that, and even using pronouns in her title, and I emailed her, and this is all on the record as well, about like how you can't universally adopt this, like the pronouns, like especially the ones that like she was discussing. I forget how many there were, like 50 or 20 or 50 or 80 at that time. I forget, but I was talking to her about like you teach about the root language and about how like the masculine and the masculine and feminine like breakdowns. You discuss the trees. We do all of this in class, lady, and so this can't be universally adopted, and that this like the agenda here, like you're also like in a psychology science course, and this is all stuff that is like it doesn't lead to emotionally stable, informed consent about like what people are doing with their bodies at this point, because of the people that we have that are teaching classes that are supposed to be scientific and are medical, and they're teaching a woke agenda, which is willfully observing known evil. But this is transhumanism movement that is meant to collapse, or I don't know. Well, I mean, it's not. I mean, it is meant to by design. That's what it does. And so if people know this or not, there's just too many examples of that's the fact, right? And they can call it whatever buzzword they want, these 15-minute cities or concentration camps or whatever you want to call it, but it's still part of the electrical grid, like worker cattle, like rat model, Universe 25 model that is that takes us really, really far away from our primitive, more natural avatars, or like I don't know, like experiences. And so when there are people from other countries that may or may not be a threat, a security threat to ourselves or the U.S., and they have different surveillance rules and regulations, and I'm seeing that these people that I know, and they have literally cameras on every single lamppost and electrical post, and on now our heritage sites and stuff like that, and these people are buying up the lands in and around our military, our government like infrastructure within Ontario. Ottawa alone, we have like over 50% of the people here are government employees and workers, and for again various different capacities. There's thousands of different jobs you can have within the government, and varying degrees, right? Right from being like a cleaner to like tip of the spear, like commanding officer of Joint Task Force 2 or CANSOFCOM commander or whatever. And I've known and operated amongst both, all those types. Yeah, so digital ID, like there are people that are also discussing that this is like possibly like the next virus or pandemic, and I've been saying that as well, and I do agree because of the cyber warfare and the hacking and stuff like that. It's been ongoing now for many, many years, that even there's a lot of people, even like the McAfee guy, John McAfee or whatever. Anyway, the guy that committed suicide. And Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide, like over 6 feet tall, and like a small little bunk, and all the surveillance and recordings not available, and people like sleeping or not on their jobs. Like, come on, guys. When I know, even like that at a restaurant, that like a guy that I've talked to that was like 30-something years, like a guard in one of Ontario's like really heavy prison systems, and has a lot of stories about guards and about prison inmates, and about like looking the other way, and about things, how they're handled, and all of that stuff, and the organized crime within that's being done. And anyway, I don't want to talk too much about that stuff because yeah. So yeah, digital IDs, but the people that are trying to implement these as well, like there's shares and stocks that are already like put away for these digital platforms, and this is going to be like the push for the new trillionaire group, and so this is what I'm saying as well. So the digital IDs with the ArriveCan app, that's a security breach, because like even with my chart, it's called that within Ontario, you can access so much information that is such a security breach if it's linked to any like app, right, or any social media app that's not protected and secured. And so my chart, it has even like driver's licenses, addresses, dependents, like blood types, like if you've had any like diseases, or if you have any like STDs, or if you ever did, your salaries, like it's so much information, and these are all going to be going to people, again, that you don't know what they're going to do with this information. You don't know what their level of education is. You don't know where they're from. You don't know what their life experiences have been, or what they've been groomed into believing, or like I don't know. And so this is not stuff that should be freely given. And even when I like fill out things like for international travel, right, like I have to pay attention to like the information that I'm giving and who it could possibly be going to, especially because of my line of work and the stuff that I've done in the past. And Yeah, because even things like with the green passports, when you use them as a, and when you're working as like on behalf of like Canada, but as a diplomat, there's also like eyes on that stuff as well. I posted again this morning on my Instagram that my Instagram account is like threatened to be deleted again, which is really frustrating because it's stuff that's been compiled over the year, but it's all like COVID stuff and me talking about like the fertility issues. And like that's the stuff that gets like my accounts suspended and or locked and or like shadow banned and stuff like that, and then my posts deleted. And I post so many other controversial stuff, and it's like that stuff like that is like the ones that are, sorry, even I even get like gaseous upset stomach when I talk about this stuff because like it's about kids and children and stuff like that, and even Jane Fonda, that crazy lady, literally talking about pro-lifers murdering them on national TV. There were millions of people watch this on The View, and I shared that if people want that for reference, and being serious about it, and this is why I'm saying that they're so far removed from humanity and so far removed from like life experiences, like being more like in nature and experiencing life. Where even when I've driven them, right, when I was doing executive protection for the Bank of Canada, like I was driving people around even to get like hair appointments, nail appointments, and it was very specific ones and I get because of like the threat and the risk, you know what I mean, like that's involved in the job and the position, but there's also way too much, and I'm even seeing it on the heritage side, right? There's a way of being over safe. And so when you're overly safe and there's not a requirement for it, and then you're also harming other people like with undue like harm, then this is where more people need to speak up. And if you yell, you get in trouble. so even if you're like anyway, even if you speak freaking multiple languages, you don't understand if I'm Quebec. And so even that, like I don't, and that's why like it should be at the legal level. But I'm still like trying to get like lawyers within Ottawa to take this stuff on, and it's not even, it's literally just for like because of like the short term and the long term ramifications and health implications as well, because of the chronic health conditions like weakened immune systems, cancers, anxieties, depressions, like increase in irritability, like lack, like sleep issues. This is all stuff that can be mitigated, and I'm not. It's not like that. I'm not coming with just complaining. I'm like actually trying to give it like solutions to this stuff as well. And CSIS again, I have coins downstairs too from CSIS, like amazing people, and I know that people that have been on the field teams and freaking amazing freaking people, and I would love to give their freaking backgrounds and certifications like that are even beyond that make them freaking amazing people, but I can't because it's not open source. And but yeah, so like there's so many good people, but whistleblowers, there were people trying to make it seem in the media where we should be going against the whistleblowers. That's just more mainstream media and more people that are in charge right now that have crimes against them, you know, that they don't want to be investigated, that are trying to say stuff like that, right? Like go after the people that are actually like of service to Canada and Canadians and the actual heroes. But there's a lot more people now that are saying, no, you don't go after the person. And like even saying whistleblower, like there's so many connotations that come with that could be negative, when this person, like even like Helen Bruce, just like brave and courageous enough to speak out when people internally that should have taken that information and pushed it forward, didn't, right? And it's not everyone at all, because I can confirm I work with all levels of government, and there's a lot of friggin' really amazing people that have risked their lives and careers and stuff like that to give me information, and that are also freaking now suspended or fired or charged and like kicked out and stuff like that. And it's like, oh my God, and I feel so bad, but it's like, guys, like don't slam the friggin' government and talk about defunding the police. You don't know what you're talking about, because like look at the places too where the people are talking about this stuff, and they are honestly getting more and more to be like slums. And I hate to say that, but it's a reality. And it's not good for the people that it's impacting, and it's not good for anyone else either. And that's where I'm saying, where I even know people personally that have been on the streets. It's not easy. It's hard. I've worked in and around them, and even doing like not only like training the security professionals actually in and around these areas within Ottawa and the LCBOs and stuff like that, and the and around the mission and Shepherds of Good Hope, for example, and. Anyway, but I've also trained the homeless people within the area, or people in transient quarters with through Discovery University, and teaching full out university level courses and going through the questions with them, like with certain groups, and critical thinking piece, and them getting credits towards like higher education, and it also helps pad their resume. And then there's life skills in that as well, right? Because it's good. And I've said this as well. Like there are people, like, because of their cognitive abilities, they're being seen or perceived as disabled instead of seeing where their talents lie. And I get emotional. I don't want to get emotional. Oh. Anyway, there's a woman who, like, she would be considered slow, and she's not, she doesn't look very fit, and she's older and stuff like that as well, and she doesn't care about any of that stuff anyways. Like, that's not important to her. But she's a beautiful creative artist, and she actually, like the piano, does like classical pieces, like literal classical friggin' pieces on the piano, and she does it like literally, like where like she's like she works in symphonies and stuff like that, and has, like, throughout her whole life. But she's a talented musician, and no one knows that, or not a lot of people know that. So, and it's like engaging the creative side and stuff like that as well, and just accessing different parts of the consciousness, and gifted and a genius, but in a way that's not embraced in society, unfortunately, now. But there is really good instrumental music, even within my own family, people in bands, even playing 12-string guitars, country, you name it. It's like the tastes differ drastically too, and across like the world and stuff like that. And we should be putting that more in music, right? That's just about the voice now, and there's a lot of like editing of voices and voiceovers and things like that people talk about, and a lot less instrumental music. And I was raised with that, and so maybe that's why I love it more. I even played the spoons, like, growing up and stuff like that, and like had the cowboy hat and stuff like that, until I lent it to a university friend who got in a fight, and my cowboy hat, like, I never saw it again, and I'm crushed over that still. And I think a cowboy hat, it should be gifted to someone that's not a cowboy, and not just bought. But when I go back to gas, my sister has horses and stuff like that as well, but it's just been so busy, and with lockdowns and stuff like that the last couple of years, it's just been hard to even focus on anything yet, let alone like do even horseback riding. But I think when I get to Gaspé or whatever, I will start back at it again, like I used to do bareback when I was a kid. Don't friggin' laugh at that stuff, guys. It just means that there was no saddle on the friggin' horse, right? So we didn't even have like stirrups or reins or anything like that, and we just hold the hair nicely, or like, just like, yeah, and it would just be, I would go in a full out gallop, like with no saddle or anything like that, and no reins, and that's it was, and so the muscle memory is there, and stuff like that, because it was something that I was, and that's because of my sister too. Like, she loved animals, and she had like ducks and rabbits and stuff like that, and took care of this even at a young age, and so she was always more into that type of environment, and very gifted with gardening and with animals and with kids, multiple kids and stuff like that, and being in a stable sort of stable relationship, because also Quebec, very, anyway. So she's very passionate too sometimes. I could talk about so many different things, like about the Federal Reserve System being a cartel. Oh my God. I don't even know my own writing. Yeah, there's a lot of bank collapses being discussed, and a lot of bailouts, even the Silicon Valley bailout, and they're equating this to being similar or in comparison to 2008 and stuff like that. And possibly, I also, in my YouTube videos, my YouTube videos that have gotten deleted, and I still haven't posted on Rumble yet, but I'll start, or maybe I have, I don't know, I just haven't gone through my earlier videos yet, because I was starting to download like YouTube videos, but then because of what's been going on, I just, my uploading and downloading speeds got impacted. But I was saying that this is a phased, controlled government kind of collapse and system collapse, because they want to bring in this new like globalist, or whatever you want to call it, agenda, like that, where WEF, World Economic Forum, and other groups were part of and aligned with, and with WHO as well, which is why with this like international pandemic response and stuff like that, like this was all kind of like brought in simultaneously, and then with like the harassing noise around suburbs simultaneously, and then taking over Greek, like this is all stuff again that's it's, unless you know the game, and I've done combat estimates, like I've said that as well, like as part of my job, and I've trained, and I've taught this to men and women as well, to women, like out of like men, like years of training, like men during like even like the phase 4 infantry training in Gagetown, and doing combat estimates and assessing them, and you have to, and these are things that takes hours, even with like a small like little mission, like with one objective, like with a 10-figure friggin' grid. Make sure you get the grid zone designators too, ladies and gentlemen, and then making assessments on that, right, about like the enemies most likely lethal and dangerous, and then going over like the terrain, the environment, like the locals, the communities that you're in and around, and like there's so many things that you have to look at, like even at the where how the doors open and where the doorknobs are, and yeah, and all those things as well, and what are the foundational structures, and if there's any underground tunneling systems within the area, any access routes, ingress, egress, like if there's any like overwatch or oversight, from like further areas where there could be like possible sniper locations, or artillery or tanks or air defense and all this other stuff. So anyway, I think on that note, I will leave it at that. And yeah, there's so many things that I'm waiting on today, just to get back on track with life. So I will leave it at that, and I hope that everyone has a wonderful day.